Las Vegas Raiders, OTA update, major injury news and position battles. The Las Vegas Raiders have officially kicked off week 2 of OTAs, and there's a lot to unpack, especially with some key updates on player health and the quarterback situation. Let's start with the biggest news of the day. Malcolm Koonce is back on the field. The Raiders' standout pass rusher was seen practicing for the first time since his ACL injury. It's a major step forward for a player who has the potential to be one of the top edge rushers in the league. Koonce had been sidelined throughout the offseason, but now he's running and participating in drills, an encouraging sign heading into training camp. ACL recoveries can take 12 to 18 months, but Koonce tore his early, which puts him on track to be fully ready by week 1. If he stays on this path, there's a strong chance he'll be back to full strength when the season kicks off. This is especially important considering some uncertainty elsewhere on the defensive line. While Christian Wilkins has been present at OTAs, reports suggest his foot injury still hasn't fully healed. There's even talk that he might require surgery, which could delay his return. That makes Koonce's return even more valuable. When healthy, a defensive line featuring Max Crosby, Wilkins, and Koonce has the potential to be one of the most dominant in the league. In addition to Koonce, Thayer Munford has also returned to practice. The offensive lineman had been absent up until now, but he's officially back on the field. His presence adds depth and competition, especially at the right tackle position. On the flip side, a few players were notably absent. Defensive lineman Adam Butler and safety Jeremy Chinn were both missing from practice, though no specific reasons have been given. Since OTAs are voluntary, their absence isn't necessarily a concern, but it's something to monitor moving forward. To recap, Malcolm Koonce is back and progressing well. Christian Wilkins is still sidelined with a foot injury. Thayer Munford has returned to the field. Adam Butler and Jeremy Chinn were absent from today's session. The Raiders are slowly getting healthier, and as training camp approaches, the team will be hoping to have all its key players ready to go. Raiders cornerback battle heats up an O-line depth watch. There's been plenty of speculation around the Raiders' offensive line, particularly whether Thayer Munford can reclaim a starting role. Some doubt he'll get that spot back, but his return to practice makes the situation worth watching. The offensive tackle room is getting crowded. Colton Miller is locked in, and DJ Glaze is a promising young addition. Charles Grant is also in the mix, bringing the total to 3 solid options. Beyond them, the team might only carry 1 or 2 more tackles. Don Wagner has stood out physically and could be a strong candidate to make the roster. Whether Munford can fight his way back into the starting rotation remains to be seen. There's also buzz around several undrafted and second-year players who are fighting for spots. Preseason and camp reps will be crucial for those guys to prove themselves. On the defensive side, a report from ESPN's Ryan McFadden caught attention. It confirmed what many suspected. Darian Porter is currently taking first-team reps at cornerback. That aligns with earlier rumors and even comments from Max Crosby, who mentioned Porter impressing in early drills against top receivers. But here's the twist. Eric Stokes is the other starting cornerback in practice. Most expected Jakorian Bennett to be in that spot. While nothing is set in stone this early, it's notable that Stokes and Porter are seeing first-team snaps together. That suggests the coaching staff is giving them serious consideration as the team's boundary corners. This development also aligns with signs that the Raiders might be shifting toward a cover 3 zone-heavy defense, similar to the schemes made popular by PeteCarroll. That would explain why the team is targeting tall, physical defensive backs like Stokes, Porter, and even Jeremy Chinn, all standing at over 6 feet 2 inches. Cover 3 relies heavily on long, rangy corners who can control the outside, which makes Porter and Stokes ideal candidates. But it raises the question, what's the plan for Jakorian Bennett? He's shown real potential over the past 2 seasons, especially last year. It would be surprising if he's not still in the mix. One possibility is that Bennett shifts to the slot. That position becomes even more important in nickel formations, which are now a staple of modern defenses. The Raiders could also experiment with bigger defensive backs like Isaiah Pola-Mao or Jeremy Chinn inside. In a cover 3 system, slot defenders often need to be physical, capable of supporting the run, and strong in short area coverage. Training camp will reveal more, but for now, the battle at cornerback is clearly wide open, and the Raiders are quietly building a secondary tailored to a new defensive identity. Where does Jakorian Bennett fit? Plus rookie standouts, making waves. One big question heading into training camp is where Jacorian Bennett will line up. Could he move inside to play slot corner? It's something we'll learn more about as OTAs continue and training camp gets closer. It's pretty clear that Darian Porter and Eric Stokes won't be playing in the slot. They're both built to play outside, but the Raiders have options. They could stick with a traditional slot corner, or they might try a big nickel look, using a safety like Jeremy Chin in that role. It all depends on what scheme the Raiders fully commit to. We already know the team is likely shifting to a cover 3, zone-heavy defense, and that would favor taller, longer defenders. That's why it makes sense to see Porter and Stokes running with the first team early on. Speaking of early standouts, Levi Edwards, a digital reporter who covers the Raiders, shared that the two rookies who flashed the most at practice were Ashton Jeanty and Dante Thornton Jr. For Jeanty, that's not surprising. He's been praised since day one and is expected to contribute quickly. But Dante Thornton Jr. is the more interesting case. Thornton didn't have a full route tree at Tennessee, so there's still a lot of unknowns about what he can become. However, his physical tools are exciting. He's long, fast, and averaged over 26 yards per catch in college. If he catches the ball, there's a real chance he's taking it to the house. Even Jakobi Meyers had high praise for Thornton. In a post-practice interview, Meyers said, "Dante Thornton isn't just a guy that can run fast. He's got real receiver skills." That means a lot coming from someone like Meyers, who's known for his high football IQ and polished route running. If Meyers sees true potential in Thornton, that's a good sign. Thornton still has to prove it on the field, but this early praise is encouraging. Chip Kelly also commented on Thornton, saying, "If you had to draw up an outside receiver, you'd draw up that body type." That's a clear hint that the Raiders plan to develop Thornton as a true outside wide receiver. There's still a lot of work ahead, but if Thornton continues to develop, he could give the Raiders an explosive weapon on the outside, something they've been missing in recent years. Jack Beck's role in the offense plus Chip Kelly's vision for the Raiders. One question fans had was, where will Jack Beck line up? Will he play on the outside or in the slot? Based on how things are shaping up, it looks like Beck will mainly line up in the slot. In football, each wide receiver has a specific role depending on the play called. Whether you're the X, Y, or Z receiver, your job is different. You might be running deep routes, crossing the field, or even just drawing coverage. These roles help coaches design plays with a clear purpose. So when Chip Kelly said Dante Thornton has the perfect build for an outside receiver, that tells us the Raiders plan to keep Thornton on the outside. He'll likely be running deep routes, over routes, and crossing routes. But it also means he'll need to do some physical work, like crack blocking linebackers and safeties on outside zone runs. That opens the door for Jack Beck to slide inside and handle more slot duties. Beck has a skill set more like Jakobi Meyers, smart, reliable, and good at working the middle of the field. Meanwhile, Thornton's speed and size remind many of Trey Tucker, who often lines up outside to stretch the defense. But unlike Tucker, Thornton may be more willing to go across the middle and take hits. That makes him a more versatile threat. Beck, on the other hand, may not go deep often, but he's great at getting open across the middle. So, while their roles may overlap at times, it's clear the Raiders have a plan. Thornton attacks deep and outside, while Beck works short and inside. It's a balanced setup that could help this offense really click. Speaking of the offense, it's worth noting the strong belief in Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator. Last year, fans were frustrated with Luke Getsy, especially those who watched the Bears closely. But this year feels different. Chip Kelly brings creativity, experience, and structure. There's a lot more confidence in his ability to turn the offense around. Jakobi Meyers also gave us a clue about the offensive identity. He said the Raiders are clearly building around the run game, and he's excited about rookie running back Ashton Jeanty. If Jeanty can play like many expect, the Raiders could be dangerous on the ground. Meyers believes this could be a fun year if the offense clicks. And with a smart coach like Chip Kelly and weapons like Jeanty, Thornton, and Beck, this unit has a chance to surprise people. Can the Raiders be a true run-first team? If the Raiders want to succeed, following the PeteCarroll-style run-heavy approach makes a lot of sense. Just like the Seahawks leaned on their run game for years, the Raiders seem to be building a similar identity. But one big question still remains. Do the Raiders have enough running backs to support that kind of offense? We all know Ashton Jeanty is going to be the feature back, and he absolutely deserves that role. But he can't carry the ball 30-plus times every game. If you want Jeanty to be around for the next 8 to 10 years, you need to manage his workload smartly. That's how you protect his health and keep him productive long term. That brings us to the RB2 spot. The Raiders brought in Raheem Mostert, which makes sense. He's experienced and explosive. But let's be honest, he's had trouble staying healthy in recent years. If Mostert goes down, who steps up? That's a concern the team still needs to address. Strength in the trenches. The good news is that the offensive line is built to run the ball. Colton Miller is one of the best run-blocking left tackles in the NFL. Jackson Powers-Johnson might be a better run blocker than pass protector at this point, and that's saying something. DJ Glaze, while raw as a pass blocker, might already be a top 10 run-blocking right tackle. That's 3 out of 5 offensive linemen who are very good in the run game. And there's more depth coming. Caleb Rogers, the rookie, could step in and make an impact too, especially on outside zone plays, where quickness and angles matter. He's a natural fit for that system. As for Alex Kappa and Dylan Parham, there's still room for improvement. But if one of them is replaced by Rogers or another strong blocker, the Raiders could field a dominant run-blocking unit. Big physical receivers help. 2. Let's not forget how physical this entire offense is becoming. Guys like Dante Thornton, Jacoby Myers, Jack Beck, and Brock Bowers aren't just receivers. They're blockers too. When wide receivers are willing and able to block, especially in outside zone schemes, it gives the run game a major boost. Imagine Thornton coming downhill to crack a linebacker, or Bowers sealing the edge. That's powerful football. If the Raiders fully commit to this physical identity, they could be a nightmare for defenses. Maybe not every week in 2025, but in the next 2 to 3 years, they could become a team that just runs over opponents, literally. Smart moves, better results. The most exciting part, it finally feels like the Raiders are making smart decisions. No more reaching for flashy names or draft busts. Instead, they're drafting the best players, building a balanced roster, and setting up for long-term success. In fact, this might be the best direction the franchise has had in the last 15 years. Let me know what you think. Are you excited about this new era for the Raiders? Drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you're ready for some old-school smash-mouth football in Vegas.